Hey everyone, I hope everybody's doing well, blessed, and enjoying family. As always, muchas gracias to everyone for everyone's words, wishes, prayers, and the love and support everyone shares and sends my way. From the heart, I appreciate every one of you. Also, do please like, share, subscribe, and hype to the video to help support the message. Well, everyone, today it's gonna circle around Psycho from Santa Monica and a homie from Lennox, and more so, it's just gonna be one of them things, right? Where there's more than one way to skate by. We always look at the skating by having something shady on your jacket, right? But nobody speaks about the other way. But anyways, allow me to make sense. On this one, we'll take you back to 2001 Tehachapi, right? And there, shortly after I got in there at the end of 2001. So it must have been within a month or so. A camarada drove up, you know, or should I say a bus full of camaradas, right? And in this, the homie Psycho from Lennox 13 came by, right? He was there for a pegada he had done in a different institution, and everything checked out on him. His case on the streets, his reputation, his career inside, everything was cool. There was no issue with him at all. And I reported this to Toro, and the homie started coming out to yard with us, which, at that moment it is what it is, right? We did what we were supposed to, and ran it across a Pili, and it's done and over with, right? Well, at least that's how it should be. But that's how a lot of people skate by too, because when you're in the hole, in the shoe more so, right, at this time, you you get there with your lockup order, your 128G, and yeah, it's just gonna state everything you done, right, like crime wise. But for example, if you have a 187, it's going to say you have a 187, but it's not going to get into specifics, right? As your lockup order, all that, it ain't going to really touch on the real reasons on why you're busted. That only your court's transcripts are going to speak. But anyways, the homie, he liked playing handball. And out there on the yard, boxer for me, myself, and a couple other camaradas, you know, that's all we did besides the rutina, right? Or if case anything needed to get handled. And everything was mellow. It was the time of mellow. And just one day, talking to the homie, um, like I said, I might sound very dumb to a lot of people, but I did not last as long as I did, right? And I'm real careful in what other people say. Is there something to hold on to? Or is there something to spin the wheels over, overthink, see into it, things like that. And it's for the same reason that there was that loophole where people were skating by. It was happening a lot, right? Until, well, things got figured out a little later. But, anyways, getting back to Psycho, right, from Lennox, the homie, he was busted with another one of his homies, right? Puppet from Lennox, which, this puppet from Lennox, I checked his last name with them and everything, and I left it alone then, you know, and then I went back and checked. There was a lista that came out of Calipat, you know, behind all types of stuff, right? But the one that stuck to me was Puppet and his crimey were wanted by Psycho from Santa Monica, and it was behind Puppet and his crimey, right? I guess homeboy Puppet was not speaking on who his crimey was or whatever. However, it was a big mystery to them, right? But anyways, Puppet had gotten hit, and amongst that, basically that no good list that came up, it was whoever his crimey was wanted for taking out a direct family member of Psycho. Keep in mind, by this time, I didn't know Psycho. I had just heard of him, never done nothing with him. But again, for those that ask me, do I think or to speak about a movie that I did that I think it was not deserved? This is exactly one of them, right? You see, when we're there, if your heart is where it is, which should be, and this is the causa, right? As mine was at the moment, it's I agree with a lot of things, but at the end of the day, I wasn't going to become part of the program problem to my gente. You know, I was going to try to follow the guidelines. And anyways, a couple more yards, and me playing the part, pescando a little bit here and there, and by the homie's own mouth, it was him, right? It was him that he had gotten busted, and it was more clear because later on he basically stated his crime, who his crime he was, that they had gotten busted in for some hot ones in Santa Monica, and it just in conversation things can always come out, and once I felt comfortable enough, right, then is when I brought it up to T. And again, I was wrong for this because it was wrong all the way around, right? They tell us game banging is left at the door. But what happens when the game banging affects one of their families members that's out there game banging, pulling out straps, trying to hoop bang on you and they lose, then it becomes an issue, right? Then all that matters is them getting theirs. Don't matter where we're at. But anyways, they would eventually run it to Psycho, and Psycho basically told him, "Hey, we don't know the other individual's name. How can we find out for sure?" And T basically told him, "Hey, he spoke up right here. Who his crime was, how they did the murders in Santa Monica, and all that." And basically, I guess in that conversation, it had been decided that, to go ahead and whack them, and let them know what it was behind. I am participating in that stabbing at the homeware cycle, right? But I want you guys to tell me, it's like, what can you tell the individual? In other times you whack them, and most of the times, who does get involved, and then there's going to be an opening, and the vatos always ask you, like, hey, ¿qué pasó aquí? Unless they know what they have coming. And then you let them know. But in this case, what are you going to tell them? Hey, you went out there to a party in Santa Monica, fools try to game bang on you, pull out on you, you pull out on them, and you won. Where are they in the wrong? You know, and to the point where instead of having them checked, oh, that would never happen though. They straight throw him to basura. Let me remind everyone, their case was already 4 or 5 years old. They had been in the system doing their thing, doing things right, obviously, and not getting in trouble for dolphin and agendas, things like that. And at the end of the day, that just didn't matter. Like I said earlier, it was a family member of Cycles. I don't really remember what family member, but primo, um, maybe uncle. I don't know. Don't quote me. I don't want to say something just to say it, right? And it will come down, and the homies that stabbed him, which is not important who, basically told him, hey, this is a message from Psycho for the homie so and so and so and so you killed in Santa Monica. You're through. But I'll leave this with this question, right? And it's basically, do you feel they're in the wrong? Remember this: when we come in the system, we're to leave our neighborhood and all that game banging stuff from the streets at the door. If there's an issue that cannot be let go, you make it personal, you handle it, and let go of it. What do you do in this case? When the one on the other end making it personal and making it an issue is appealing. There's a lot of ways a lot of people end up on that side. And you know, if you really sat down and analyze it sincerely, only about 20-30% that are on that side are over there because they deserve it. With this, I ain't trying to co-sign. I ain't trying to say it's right. Nah, Charles, I don't agree with it still, right? Even though I seen like this situation play out. But, you know, the reality is the reality. You're no good. You're this and that. You're trash. When a lot of people don't deserve that title. With this said, I'm going to make it short. Do excuse me, everyone. As you probably know by now, I've been trying to record for you guys as much possible because I'm gonna have to be enrolling myself in the hospital and I'll be MIA a little bit. But I hope this one is understandable. You guys know I've just been bad lately health wise, and you guys know I'm just trying. I hope it's understandable again. I hope everybody maintains blessed and well always. God bless everyone. Stay true to yourself and loyal to your loved ones.